Welcome back. It's another week's edition of the show that isn't a show. It's the Weekly Pint. I'm the Gnarly Gnome. Think of this as like one of those virtual happy hours that are all the rage now in 2020. It's just an excuse to hang out and have a drink together and talk about all that is happening in the world today. So that's what this is. And I mean, if you don't know what you've stumbled upon, I write about local beer. I talk about local beer. I now make videos about local beer. And I drink a lot. That is who I am, and this is what I do. So welcome. Thank you for joining me. This may be the last episode of this show that is live on Facebook. I may move the live stream over to YouTube. I keep going back and forth on it. I'm too cheap to I'm too cheap to pay for a service to stream to multiple platforms at the same time. So I'm probably going to choose one, and from what I'm seeing so far, YouTube is probably going to be the way I'm going to go. I don't know. I could be completely full of it right now. We'll see how things work. As you're jumping on the stream, use the little chat box there to jump on and ask any questions or give any opinions. Or, yes, that is the one good thing about Facebook, is that the reminders are fantastic. Yeah, nothing is set in stone. So everyone tell me what you're drinking, and chime in with whatever you want to chime in with. I'm going to crack open a beer. Glass. Beer. So, last week was Big Cis Brew Day, so while I was at Municipal, they were generous enough to send me home with a bottle of their 4th anniversary Imperial IPA. And I thought it sounded good tonight, so that's what I'm drinking. This beer, so big, 9-ish, 9 or probably closer to 10% IPA, brewed with honey, local honey, local, changing every year where they get it from, but it is always somewhere local. We'll call it local-ish, depending on your definition of local. But let's see. YouTube has reminders as well. Not positive if they're as good as Facebook's, though. Just let us know when. Yeah, I don't actually know, because I don't. Sean is on the stream, and he says it is 10%. I don't know how great YouTube's notifications really are as far as when somebody goes live. I know it's pretty good as far as when people post videos, but I don't really follow anybody that does a lot of live streams. But I don't know, and nothing is, like I said, nothing is set in stone. I may just pony up to subscribe to one of the services so that I can broadcast to multiple platforms at the same time. But I'm trying to get as much of video traffic as makes sense over to YouTube instead of other platforms that can't be monetized as easily. That being said, obviously, every week I do Prost, which is on Instagram, which Instagram does have some kind of monetization with it that they're kind of slowly rolling out, but I don't know. Like I said, 10%, big beer, really, really good beer though. And I actually have some of this in my beer cellar. We talked about this the other day when we were at the brewery. I stashed some of this away because it really, really ages better than an IPA should. It becomes very malty. It gets a little boozier and just turns into a completely different beer. But it is absolutely fantastic as a fresh IPA. As a reminder, the phone lines are active. If you you want to call in, 567-70-DRINK. The number's up on the screen for you. And you can take part in the show. You can join us via wonderful technology. So cheers, everybody. That is so delicious. So how's everybody's Monday gone? I actually had the day sucked. Traipsing around in the rain and the cold, but the kids were well behaved for bedtime. I would have had the stream on almost exactly at 9:00, but as is usual for me, so I don't know how long I've had this studio set up and all of that down here now at this point, but trying to get the bottle to be in frame. And I keep changing things up down here. And so now I still have a screen right in front of me like I always did, but I can't see what you guys are seeing live. It's over here. I'm seeing like a little delay here, so it really messes with my mind. But I can see the chat way easier now than trying to fight with it before. So, anyways, talking about changing things up. So I moved a bunch of stuff around in the studio, nothing that you can really tell, and rearranged some stuff and did some other wiring things that make my life easier. But I sat down to fire everything up, and I was testing everything to make sure everything was working, and I couldn't get the sound. I have a phone hooked up so that you guys can call in, and I couldn't get sound from it. I couldn't get it to work. I'm like, oh crap! Did I have a cable go bad in the small little shuffling that I did? So I changed out the cable, and it still wasn't working. I'm like, crap! Maybe it's my little dongle guy that connects the cable to the phone. So I swapped that out for another one, and it still wasn't working, and I just couldn't figure it out. And so now it's past 9:00 when I actually would have been on at 9. For the record, the volume on my phone was down. So that's the type of chaotic podcaster that I am. Sean White is washing kegs tonight. Sticking to water for now. That's a rough life, being in a brewery and not have a beer in front of you. So has anybody had anything exciting? Julia was saying she got to go to Westside. They just released their Imperial Stout last week, I think, something like that. Really, really good beer. We actually last year, right around this time of year, I guess, when we did our last show there, was right about the time that they released it then. And that is the last time that I had that beer. So I need to get a hold of some soon. Other than that, I was at Paradise last week to record episode of the Brewcast. Obviously, Municipal, like I said, brewing up a beer. Which, by the way, I'm pretty sure that this week's vlog will be Big Cis Brew Day. I've got it pretty much done. I have to record a couple little things and then tweak some timing stuff that I'm still not happy with, but I like the video. It's good. I had today during the day I had some time in between day job appointments and was scribbling some ideas down in the notebook of some videos that I want to do. So there are some longer format videos that I'm planning that are going to be really cool when I get to do them, if I get to do them. It won't all just be this short little content like the vlog. Also playing around with the idea of getting some Brewcast content onto to YouTube. So Sean says it was an amazing day, referring to Big Cis Brew Day. It really was. It was fun. Every year, and I'll talk about this in the vlog, so I don't want to give away too much, but I'm blown away every year about how much that day means to me. It is such a fun time, and it really it's a good reminder of what this whole thing is about. This idea of beer. It's just beer. It's supposed to be fun. It's really easy sometimes to get caught up in all the other stuff. I actually think we talked about this on this week's Brewcast. Excuse me. About how sometimes people take themselves way more seriously than they need to. Not that this isn't a serious thing, and I get that when people have their livelihoods on the line, it is very serious, but at the end of the day, it is still just beer, and it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be about community. It's supposed to be about sitting with people, even if sitting with people is like this, where we're on a video where I can't see you guys, but that community aspect of it means a lot, and Big Cis is a perfect representation of that, which is exactly what it should be. That's the whole point of it. That's what Mike would have wanted. So Julia says that Paradise needs to re-release their peppercorn ale. Yes, they have a lot of really, really great beers that they don't put on enough, really. I think that that's part of the fun of a small place like that, is that they just constantly roll through stuff. There's not a lot of, core beers and that kind of thing, but there's a lot of stuff that I'm in love with. Night at the Opera is coming back very soon. I think next week, if I remember right, something like that. Very soon. So get in there and drink that. Let's see. Julia says she thinks once people were downtown at Bengals game. Oh, this was going back. I missed Jeff's comment. Jeff said he went to Rebel Metal for the first time yesterday. Enjoyed the hazy and the Schwarzbier. Cool venue as well. I worry a bit about the location for them. Julia says she thinks once more people are downtown at Bengals games and FC games with the new stadium, the place is going to do just fine. That I 100% agree with both sides. I wish that the times I'd been there, they'd been busier, but we don't have real football crowds yet, and I think that is going to absolutely change the game for them, assuming we ever get to go back to the normalcy of a football game, but we will, and the beer will continue to keep just getting better, and they'll dial in kind of what people are looking for. Not that they haven't already, but I'm really digging what I've tried so far. This 2 weeks from this last Friday is grand opening of Cartridge. That's exciting too. Another new place opening up. I'm really, really excited to see what they've done with that. Really curious to try the beer. I know just very little about kind of where that personality of their beer is going to go. I mean, right now in my head, it's all about the space. So I haven't even started to think about what the beer there is going to be like. So it's fun. It's just a fun time. Sean says it's about bringing friends and individuals together and solving the world's problems. That's what beer is about. And it's about the community. It really is. And I know that like a lot of breweries open in, talking about community, a lot of breweries open in areas that are prime for some kind of community hub or some kind of place that really embodies that idea of community to give them something to build off of. A lot of that's kind of one of the things that breweries do really well. But speaking here in Cincinnati, there's not a lot of places that have done it as good as Municipal has, and I know that the city has to be responsive to some of that stuff and help make some of that happen. But maybe it's just beautiful timing, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's just the way Municipal is designed, I guess. But it has become just this. Hamilton has changed so much since that brewery opened up. So it embodies all of that stuff very well. Holds a special place in my heart, we'll put it that way. Julia says, going back to Rebel Metal, or even when conventions happen, again at the convention center, If these were normal times, Rebel Metal's location is perfect. I 150% agree. If I am and there's plenty of events that happen kind of in the center of the city like that, either at Fountain Square or wherever, in Convention Center, or I'll even throw the banks into it. And you wrap up doing what you are doing, and you're like, oh man, I'm gonna, we just want to go grab a beer somewhere, and you find yourself having to either, oh god, you find yourself either having to walk up to OTR or over to Moorline, or hop on the streetcar, grab an Uber, or whatever, and it's a pain sometimes. You don't want to go. You just want to go somewhere really quick, and there is a spot now that is close that meets that need. So I'm excited about that. What gets everybody excited right now? I mean, we talk a lot about the community and getting to experience that with something like Big Cis. I point to this like something like Big Cis, or events like that I get to take part in, or seeing new breweries open their doors, or trying new beers that are exciting, that are different. Like, that's the kind of stuff that really gets me going these days. But what gets you fired up about craft beer? What is it that makes all of this special for you guys? Because sometimes it's easy for me to just kind of get caught up in the existence that I'm stuck in. Seltzer, dear God. Seltzer doesn't get anybody excited. Even the people that are making the most fantastic seltzer in this city aren't excited. In the industry aren't excited about seltzer. There's even with the domination that White Claw has seen, there's not somebody sitting around at Mark Anthony Brands. It's like, oh, this is really exciting, guys. You got to try this new mango formulation. People aren't excited about it. I will say, if we want to go down that path, I will say that seeing breweries try new things to meet demands that may not have been seen as something that was the lane for a craft brewery is fun. Be it light lagers or seltzer or wine or spirits or any of that stuff, cider. Seeing breweries comfortable with owning that side of the market, I guess, is exciting. So I'll do that. Watching the local scene win GABF medals was pretty cool to see. It was a very strange GABF awards ceremony. Watching it, on YouTube, it was odd, but I'm always happy to see people win awards. 2 of them here in town. There's like, how many were there in Ohio? I'm sure somebody knows the number off the top of their head. Sean, I'm sure you still keep up with it a little bit, right? Jeff says he loves seeing Andy and the guys win another gold, considering they've been through this year, and it was very gratifying for them. I am sure seeing Muzi win the 3rd straight gold medal, that's not something that we've seen happen here in Cincinnati since Little Kings back in the 80s and maybe the early 90s, where it was running away with golds for cream ale. But it's pretty crazy. Julia says, I'm with Sean. Watching local breweries be recognized for what they're doing is exciting. And then other Sean says, no, we have an amazing culture here. Since that makes award-winning beers. Yes. Sean White says 9 awards for 8 breweries. Wolf's Ridge won 2. Yes. Wolf's Ridge one too. I was happy to see Little Fish get one for their Cleft. I like seeing breweries win for some of that stuff that's a little bit out there that maybe is not the normal kind of stuff, and the amount of time and effort and money that they've dumped into kind of their sour program there, and doing spontaneous fermentation and just the farm to table aspect. These things that don't always make the most business sense, I guess, on paper. When people kind of put themselves out there and be like, no, this is who we are, so this is what this is going to look like. I was like that, and so I like seeing them win. They've always been fantastic to me every time I've been out there to Athens, and so I hold a very special place in my heart for them. What other stuff in Ohio won that I can? I assume Fathead's got another one, right? They've got quite the trophy case at this point. I just hope we get back. Next year, I want a real GABF. I want some real beer festivals. I just want some semblance of movement in getting back to what we like about beer. It's the I'm sure we've talked about this plenty of times, probably more than we need to, but the social aspect. I'm a drinker. I like bar culture. I like sitting down and having a beer with people, and I haven't liked that about 2020. That's for sure. Oh yeah, North High coming to Hyde Park. I've been hearing rumblings about that for a while. They are teaming up with a co-working space, and what I'll say is this about North High coming. I'm really happy to see them in town. I like what they do, but it is a tap room. I don't imagine that they will be making any beer there. And I don't like when people aren't kind of open about that. How's that? Is that political enough? Because like I said, I don't have an issue with them serving beer in town, and I don't have an issue with them becoming part of Cincinnati beer culture. But to me, you gotta put yourself out there a little bit. You have to. I would prefer, if you're the platforms or the brew dogs or whoever you may be, I think you need to take a little bit of a push into something beyond just a tap room if you really want to be part of what Cincinnati beer is. Just my opinion. But I'm excited to see what they do. I like the idea of co-working spaces. I don't have a lot of use for them right now in my life, but I can definitely see it becoming something that I will in the future. So Matt says he was just there Saturday night, referring to Little Fish. Had a smoked Hellas. Very good, yes. I know exactly the beer you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it, but I remember the smoked Hellas. Sean White says the Dublin location here in Columbus has a brewery on site. Same with the Marion location. I assume they'd have a working brewery on site. Don't they have a Springfield spot too? Do they have 3 or do they have 4 tap rooms right now? I don't know. I hope they'll have a working brewery on site, even if it's like a really, really nano kind of thing, and there's 1 or 2 beers on tap that are brewed Cincinnati only, or maybe not only, but brewed here in town. Like, that puts it a step up to me. And I almost like that more sometimes. I like the small things. I like the I like kind of that, the almost the real neighborhood vibe that it provides. The Dublin location, is that also a co-working space kind of idea with was it Co-Hatch? Is that what it's called? Sean says that Springfield is bar only. They have 4 tap rooms and their distribution facility. I always know I can count on Sean for filling me in on an Ohio brewery that I don't know anything about. It's really hard to keep up with all of this stuff. Anybody that doesn't know Sean, he works with a brewery up in Columbus called Nostalgia that I'm a huge fan of. And he runs or ran, depending on how you look at it, Points on Pines for how long. It was a huge project that gives me the shakes just thinking about trying to run something like that. So what else is coming down the pike? So this week's Brewcast, I don't know how much into detail I'll go. We had another last minute postponement of this week's show, so I don't know what it's going to be this week as of right now. I will have something, I promise you that. I will not take another week off after just doing it a couple weeks ago. It's really, really frustrating to me when I convince myself that it's okay to take a week off from Cincy Brewcast, and 3.5 years and 200 Ohio breweries ago. It's frustrating when I take a week off and convincing myself that it'll be okay because I've got enough content coming up that I don't have to risk having an off week. And then you find out like a week later that somebody canceled on you last minute. And not to complain about my schedule at all, because I do not complain about my life and how busy I am. But I don't know if everybody realizes how difficult it is if you have something scheduled with somebody and then they call you and cancel, even if it's 4 or 5 days ahead of time. I don't have other windows to book a show. It is that window, and so now I have to find a way to get a show squeezed into that window. And there are plenty of people that I can call that'll drop what they're doing to be on the show, but those are the people that I have on the show pretty frequently. And I try really hard not to fill every episode with just my friends or the people that I really enjoy going to their spot. I try to keep it spread out a little bit and try to get around town to get to everybody. And so like there's places that I haven't been to in years, literally years, because of how difficult it is to get there, or scheduling or whatever. And there's places that I get to every 3 or 4 months, and that aspect of it is frustratingly difficult. It might take you up on that, Marco. We'll see. I gotta figure out the when and the where exactly now, and the timing of it. But there is some other fun stuff in the works, and in the process of getting a couple shows booked with some of the new guys and get that content out there. And like I was saying before, video. There's lots of video stuff. Not only there's lots of video stuff that I've been kind of getting footage for that can be pieced together at some point, but there's also tons and tons of ideas that I've been kind of twisting around trying to figure out. But it's a lot. It is definitely. Sorry, my little light went out back there. Oh. I spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to make this studio look good, and I have a little light in the back here. That's where the beer cellar is. And there's a little red light that's supposed to be on, and it's not on, so my battery must have died. So now I need to run power into my beer cellar so that I can plug a light in. Although, well, yeah, that's what I need to do. There's so much. This wall here that is still like a blanket to deaden some of the sound. They're like, there's all these plans for this wall that I've just never gotten to. Not to mention finally building. There's going to be a bar back here too, like not a fake bar, but a small like little mini bar thing that'll hold some bottles and stuff. And then over here is where the fridge is. All that still needs built too, and I don't have a weekend to do it. Sean wants to know if I talked about Ohio Pint Day yet. No, I haven't. I have it on here or on the blog at all. Julia says, maybe if that happens, try to get one or two people just to do a what are you drinking this week kind of show, something that will drive a ton of conversation that's easier possibly to fill that sudden open slot. I'd have fun listening to that. We used to do, when I had, Mike and Tina on the show with me, we used to, every once in a while, just on a night where we were recording a show, we would just record two so that we had an episode just kind of sitting in waiting for those weeks where something happened that we could just throw in there, something that's a little more evergreen. And I need to do that. But I like having that kind of I don't like shows being scheduled too far ahead of when they're going to air. I like the timeliness of Cincy Brewcast sometimes, but yes, there is a high likelihood that that's what this week's episode will be. It went out a few minutes after the show started. That's funny. I didn't even notice it. Julia says she's planning on going to West Side during my lunch break to get one of the glasses. There's a lot of goofy things about, making a podcast in itself is very it's easy to do. It's easy to fire up a recorder, record yourself or you and somebody else talking, and then publish it. That's the easy part. As soon as you get that kind of down pat, though, you find yourself wanting to kind of poke and prod at it and make things better or more efficient or different. And when you start doing that, it's really easy to do that too much, and then to the whole thing kind of suffers in the wake of that. And it would be easy to do a podcast where, if I don't have a guest, I can just sit down here. I mean, clearly I can make a podcast right here, sit down here and record something or fire up the phone and call somebody and do an interview that way, which sometimes I have to do for lots of reasons, but it's also not as fun. I like sitting across a table from somebody and drinking beer with them and having a little bit of noise from a brewery or a tap room or a bar or whatever it is in the background. And I like that. And I don't think that's wrong. That's part of what Cincy Brewcast is. I've toyed with the idea of changing the format of what the show is a little bit. When Cincy Brewcast was first kind of envisioned, it was more of like it was a newscast was the real idea, and that you were in studio every week. There was no such thing as a on location show at that time. We recorded every episode in studio, and you might have had segments, like you might have had an interview with somebody at a brewery, but it was 15 minutes or something kind of put into this bigger kind of newscast thing where the show was very segmented out. That's where From the Beer Fridge came from. For anybody that doesn't listen to Cincy Brewcast, that's the only segment that still remains.
From the Beer Fridge.
From the Beer Fridge. It that was one of the segments of the show. We had a bunch of them. I don't know if I have any other clips on here. But yeah, we had a bunch of different segments. I can probably load one in real quick. You know, it gave you a little more freedom to not only you didn't have to record everything at the same time. You didn't have to have all of your content ready to go before the show started. It's just a little more I don't know. I've gone back and forth with the idea of kind of going back to something like that, just maybe to keep things kind of fresh for me, for you guys, for whatever. Oh yeah, I've got a bunch of different segments here that were things that either we talked about doing or we did. Here we go. Let me play some of these. So, from the beer fridge is the obvious one. We also had the question of the week.
No, it's all right. It's a logical question.
This is a really long one.
That's out of the question.
Pretty random question.
That's a good question, Harry.
Gentleman question mark.
I actually didn't like this one that much. It's too long and
May I ask you a
too
question, Doctor?
too many clips from movies we probably shouldn't use. So there was that. We also had so that was a segment where every week on social media we would ask a question and everybody answer the question, I believe, versus I think that's what that was. Question or asked and answered.
Asked and answered.
That was where people could ask questions for our guest. We had This Week in Beer.
This Week in Beer.
Which was just the news of the week. So, hey, there's a new brewery open, whatever it was.
The lightning round.
The lightning round. That was short, little, like one-word questions with short, little, like one-word answers for people. This one was only on like one episode.
All-Stars of Beer.
The All-Stars of Beer was a thing we did where when the All-Star game was in town, where you had to assemble like your all-star team of beer, I guess. And then this was one that Mike recorded.
Beer School with Miss Tina.
Beer school. So you learned something about beer. So we had, and there's probably more of them laying around that were things that we just never really made or made it into the show, I should say. Behind the scenes of the history of Cincy Brewcast. I have tons of stuff on here, sound clips that were from stuff. I have a bunch. When my oldest kid, when she was little, I had her in the studio one time recording stuff. Although that's not even on here. I don't have it imported into my my little whatchamacallit, my soundboard. Oh, I also have although that may end up becoming part of. So if anybody was a Three Sheets fan with Zane Lamprey, which I assume everybody should be at this point because it's such an amazing show, but he had who he called the professor, who would come in during episodes to kind of give facts about whatever they were talking about. And there was a plan to do something similar like that in Drinking with the Gnome, and it just never kind of made it. Sean says, the Dora starts on Wednesday. Feel free to make the drive up here and do a brewcast from Creekside Park. I would love that, but that is a long drive on a school night. And I'm terrified to drive up there anymore. It's going to snow on me. We'll start wrapping things up here, guys. Yeah, we'll figure something out. This is one of those things that happens, I'd say like once every, maybe once every 6 months or so. There's a week where things fall apart at kind of the last minute and you're left trying to figure it out. But I need to, like I said, I need to just prepare ahead of time and have some evergreen shows ready to just post if things don't work out. But I know from experience, man. Yep. I will get up there at some point. We will definitely do some content. There's the fun part for me now is that when I do stuff like that, I'll go like for an afternoon or, a day to do something, and I'm recording a Brewcast. I'm recording content for Drinking with the Gnome. I'm making videos. I'm taking pictures. It's like you're trying to just cram as much into every minute, trying to really crank some stuff out, but it becomes a little chaotic. Anyways, thank you guys for showing up again. Thanks for hanging out and having a beer with me. And share things with people. Not just this show, but Cincy Brewcast and Drinking with the Gnome and the website and the YouTube, please. If you don't already subscribe on YouTube, go over to YouTube and subscribe there because I'm having a lot of fun with that. And I'm really excited for some of the stuff that I might be able to do here in the near future. So please do that and tell people about it. I think that's the biggest help that people can do is just to tell a friend to subscribe. We will be back next week. We'll be back with Cincy Brewcast on next Monday. If you didn't listen to this Monday's, though, it's there. And yeah, thank you guys. It's the show that isn't a show that may one day become a show. That may one day become a show on YouTube. If you are sitting at 9-ish next week and you can't find the show, just check YouTube just in case because I might have popped it over there. We'll see. Like I said, it's in the back of my head. If I do, I'll tweet it out or put it on Facebook to let you know that's where it is. Thanks, guys.